Hello. So as you're working on the problems in the notes today, starting on page 5, I thought I'd give a little bit of a hint here. Number 11, this is factoring with a greater than 1. Number 12, not 2, number 12. You're thinking GCF for that one. For number 13, it's a difference of squares. Number 14 is also a difference of squares. Number 15 is similar to 11, excuse me. This is just factoring with a is greater than 1. And similarly for 16. So number 11, 15, and 16 are similar to each other. 13 and 14 are both difference of squares, and number 12 is a GCF factoring. So try to solve those. Okay, the one new thing that we are learning today when we are finding zeros, remember that our kind of steps have been now to factor and then use the zero product property. And the zero product property requires you to have an equation that is set equal to 0. So I'm going to do a couple examples about what we do when we have an equation that's a quadratic equation and it's not set equal to 0. So for our first example, x squared plus 6x equals negative 8. Well, I want to make something 0. And I'm going to try to make sure that the x squared is a positive thing. That's going to make it easier for us to factor. So in doing that, if I add 8 to both sides, we now have x squared plus 6x plus 8 equals 0. Now, from here, we have our problem set equal to 0. So now we're going to factor it and then use the zero product property. So how do I factor this? We have 3 terms. Our number in front of x squared is 1. So this is our kind of quote-unquote straightforward factoring. Looking for 2 numbers that multiply to 8 and they also add to 6. Those numbers happen to be 4 and 2. So this thing factors to x plus 4 times x plus 2 equals 0. And then we take each of our factors, x plus 4 and x plus 2, set them equal to 0, and we solve for x on both, giving us x equals negative 4 and negative 2. So I'm going to show 2 more. You're going to try the 2 bottom ones, check your answers, and that will hopefully allow you to complete anything that you need on page 7 as the last thing you need to do for your notes today. So number 17, I see the x squared is on the left. It means, to me, I think moving everything to the left side would be the easiest way to do this. So we're going to subtract 10x from both sides. No like terms with the 10x on the left. So you kind of just see all of those pieces hanging out together like that. And on the right side, don't forget to write it equals 0. Factoring this, what 2 numbers multiply to positive 24 add to negative 10? Sounds a little bit tricky, and be careful. It's x minus 6 and x minus 4. Negative 6 times negative 4 is 24, and negative 6 plus negative 4 is negative 10. We take each of our factors, set them equal to 0, add 6, and add 4 to the 2 different equations to give us our 2 answers of x equals 6 and x equals 4. Number 18, again, I see the x squared is on the left. And since it's positive, I think the easiest thing for all of us to do would be to move everything to the left, even though it does require 2 steps. I think it will make it easier to factor if we add 4x and subtract 21 from both sides. X squared plus 4x minus 21 equals 0. Same type of factoring, 2 numbers, they need to multiply to negative 21, they need to add to 4. That is negative 3 and 7. So factors to x minus 3 times x plus 7. We set each of our factors equal to 0, and we solve. So we add 3 to the first, subtract 7 to the second, and we get x equals 3 and negative 7. Now, what I think you should do is pause and try some of these trickier ones down here on your own for a second. So I would pause here. Now I'm going to go through the answers momentarily, but they're harder to do. But if you did page 5, you should be able to accomplish these with a little bit of the new information here. So if you're ready to check your answers, I'm starting now. Number 19, I would subtract 4x from both sides. 3x squared plus 26x plus 16 equals 0. So if we factor, we can use the zero product property to solve. Now, you'll notice the number in front of x squared is a 3. How do we factor these? We can't go straight to that little x thing. We have to think to ourselves. To get 3x squared, the only way we'd be able to multiply two nice things would be 3x and x. Now we're going to take the factors of 16 and kind of guess and check our way to get 26 when we multiply them back together. So it might be 1 and 16. It might be 2 and 8. It might be 4 and 4. It might be 8 and 2. It might be 16 and 1. If you take the first and last terms and multiply those, you can check, and then the inside terms. So we could do 3 times 16, which is 48. 1 times 1, which is 1. 48 and 1 cannot make 26. Definitely not that one. 3 times 8 is 24. 2 times 1. 24 and 2 can make 26. I think that's what we're going to go with. 3x, 2x, 8. And then we have to make sure our signs work. It looks like everything's positive, so I think everything's going to be positive. 3x times x is 3x squared. 3x times 8 is 24x. 2 times x is 2x. 2 times 8 is 16. Combining like terms, that does get us to where we started. So we factored this one correctly. So now, all we have left to do is use our zero product property, take each of our factors, set them equal to 0. Please note that one of the answers is not negative 2. We subtract 2 from both sides, but that means 3x equals negative 2. So we have to divide by 3. Please don't forget that. All right, last one. This one requires a little bit of thinking, but if we move everything left, that is going to make the x squared still a positive thing. Sorry about the handwriting. Writing on my computer isn't always the easiest. So, having subtracted the x squared from both sides, we don't have a number, or I should say, we have a 1 in front of the x squared now, which means we can go back just using that x to factor. What two numbers multiply to negative 24 and add to negative 10? You might think negative 6 and negative 4. But remember when we did this one earlier, that was a positive 24. So this is one of those tricky ones. The two numbers are actually negative 12 and 2. So this factors to x minus 12 times x plus 2. We take each of our factors, set them equal to 0, and we get our two solutions of 12 and negative 2. All right, so hopefully this helps. Your goal is to complete through page 7 today. I should see you tomorrow.